Today, we're going to improve the ride quality and towing capacity of this Super Duty by adding an adjustable airbag suspension system. All that and more today on TruckU. Welcome to TruckU. I'm Matt Steele.
Hi, I'm Bruno Massel.
Now today our buddy brought in this F-250 2005 Super Duty and he wants to do some heavy duty towing with it. Now we know that if we don't do anything at all, we're going to have a couple issues with that. One, it's going to squat the back down. That's going to pick the front up a little bit. Then we get some things going on in the front. We don't want to deal with any of that stuff, right? So we want to set it up correctly from the start. That way he can hook the heavy trailers on there and he's going down the road and doing it right.
Now the solution to our problem is to airbag it with an airbag it system. Now what we're going to do is not only give ourselves a better situation when it comes to towing, but an overall better ride. Now when this truck comes from the factory, it comes with a 2-inch rake, the back 2 inches higher than the front. So what the guy did is he put a 2-inch lift up front to even the stance out. We're going to take it one step further. We're going to airbag it all the way around, give us a total of 4-inch lift up front, 2-inch in the back, and have a nice even stance, and this thing will ride a ton better than it did when it came from the factory.
Yeah, it's going to be much better. Now obviously the first thing we had to do was get the bed out of the way.
Now with the truck bed out of the way, you can kind of see and have access to all the things you need to get to, and you got to tell first off, we've got a lot of disassembly we've got to do, and that can be kind of fun.
Absolutely.
I mean, no blowtorches around right now, but we do have some work to do. Now, first thing we need to do is get rid of these leaf springs, and then we'll take this hanger out of the way, and we're also going to replace these shocks. But before Matt gets crazy with the impact, I'm going to go ahead and put a jack stand underneath the pinion here so it won't rotate down and damage anything.
All right, stand clear.
Hold on. All right, go ahead.
Clear.
Okay, now that we got the leaf springs out of the way, it's time to tackle the shocks. Now the shocks will come off and give us a little more clearance room to work with. We're going to replace them with a new set when we're done. Other thing we have to do is go ahead and take off these bump stops right here. The factory ones we're not going to use anymore. It's nice because these airbag kits, they come with built-in bump stops, so that'll take care of that. Also, though, we need to be able to make room for our mounting brackets for those airbags, so we got to cut the chassis a little bit here. So we got to definitely get these things out of the way before we can get that far.
Now, back over here on this side, we're ready to take out this front spring hanger, but as you can see, it's riveted in there, so that gives us a couple different issues right there. And there's a couple different ways that you can take care of these rivets. Now, some guys will take a die grinder and get in there and make a little X pattern in that, and then try to air chisel the heads off of there. Problem is, sometimes it can be a little tricky getting the grinder in there. Other guys might come along and just try to torch the heads off. Well, the problem with that is, it's getting awful hot when you're doing that, and especially on the other line, you've got fuel lines and all kinds of stuff going on back there, and you don't want to harm any of that. And if you ever want to use this bracket ever again for whatever reason, you won't be able to do that if you cut it all up when you're torching them off. So what we like to do is a little tried and true method. We'll take this little punch right here, and we're going to find it right in the center, and we'll mark that and just get that. Now, in the interest of saving bits, the big bits anyway, we're going to do this in a couple stages, because if we threw the big bit in there right away, we're able to burn through this one a little quicker than we really want to. So with our smaller hole, we can get in there with the bigger bit now and make it happen. Now, the benefit of using that smaller bit first is that this bigger one's not going to wander around on us. So once I get all these done, we can hit that with the air chisel, the heads will come right off, and the bracket will come out nice and clean.
So now you can see that our frame has been modified. We've got enough room for our top mounting bracket, and this is how it goes. So this will wrap around the frame and go up in place like that. Now you can see we've got enough clearance because these slotted holes here, well, those are our location points to give us an idea if we're in the right spot. What we have to do still is, I'll show you, wrap it up here, is drill out these 4 holes, and that's going to bolt it into place. Now, keep in mind, I want to show you something right here, is that there's going to be a lot of weight and a lot of force put on our airbag system. You want to reinforce it, and that's what these brackets are for. So this will go here, slide up there our cables, and it'll bolt all the way through. So this will be nice and strong, and it'll hold any force we're going to put to it. It's a good time for us to take a break because I've got to go ahead and, well, not only do I have to mark those holes, I have to drill them out as well. And while you guys are on a break, I'll be working because we've got a lot more to do on this entire airbag system. There we go. That should do it.
It's that superhuman strength of yours is what it is. Hey, welcome back. So we got all the old stuff out of the way, and what we're doing now is installing some of the new bracketry for our towing kit. Keep in mind, what we're installing is a heavy-duty 4-link towing system from the guys at Airbag It. Now, with a company name like Airbag It, one could reach the conclusion that we're also going to be installing the airbags, and those will be going right in here. We'll get to those here in just a couple of minutes, because before we do that, we've got to get some more of this bracketry in place, like this big bracket right here. Now, this is where the 4-link bars are going to sit in. So there's going to be a lot of pressure and a lot of weight on this bracket when these two bars are going across like that. So we want to make sure this is attached very, very good. Now keep in mind, we knocked off this spring hanger a little bit earlier. There were 3 holes on this side. We're going to reuse those. We're actually going to have to drill into the frame on these holes over here. We'll handle that in a second, but in the meantime, there's another one on the bottom side right there, and that can be a little bit tricky, but we've got a secret.
Yeah, a little tip for you guys at home. You know, the last thing you want to do is be laying underneath the frame of this thing, pushing with all your might and get a bunch of hot metal or chips coming down on you. It can be a little bit dangerous, and it can be a little tough to do. So we've got a little tip for you guys. We're going to use a floor jack with a couple of boards on it and let it do all the pushing for us. Matt will hit the trigger on the drill, and it should go pretty quick. You about there?
Yeah, bring it up.
All right. Say when.
Easy.
Yeah, you don't want to get too carried away. You'll snap either the drill bit or the drill. So you don't want to need to actually pick up the truck with the thing. You just need to put some force behind it. You ready?
Yeah.
No, I mean, as you can see, this stuff's some pretty strong steel we're working with. It's all 1/4 inch thick. It's all been CNC cut, so you know it's going to do its job and it'll be able to handle any kind of torque you put to it.
Perfect.
All right, so you got that good?
Yeah, nice and clean.
No problem, buddy. Anything I can help with. Here's the back mounting brackets for our 4-link assembly. As you can see, this is a pretty solid piece right here. Now, the whole idea is it's going to wrap around the axle and kind of clamp on it, hold it in place. Obviously, this underneath and this going on top. Now, one of the key things I want to show you guys is the fact that it's going to actually sit up against that spring perch, and it's going to keep it from rocking back and forth. It's a really tight fit, so it'll get in a situation where it'll hold it from going back and forth. The guy's putting a lot of torque to these diesels and putting some big tires on it. You won't have to worry about this axle twisting.
So now the bracketry is all in place and we've got everything mounted loosely. We're going to start tying this whole system together, and we can do that with these 4-link bars right here. Now, one quick glance at these and you notice a couple of different things. 1-inch chromoly heims right there, Teflon coated races. That means that is ridiculously strong. We've also got our high angle misalignment spacers right there. It's going to let us tie everything in nice and good. You move on up to this end, and these are greasable polyurethane bushings right there. Now, when we put this bar in here, you want to put that grease fitting to the bottom. That way you can get to it once you put the bed back on the truck. Now, as you spin this around, you've got an inch or so of adjustability on this, but as you make them longer or shorter, you're changing your pinion angle and your axle placement as well. So we're happy with the pinion angle. That hasn't changed. So what we want to do is set the bars up to the current angle that we've got. We'll do that on this side. Then we can come over and do that on the same side. It may not be perfect, but we're going to be in the neighborhood for sure.
Now, we've got a lot of the bracketry done around the axle. Now we need to go ahead and do some of the stuff here in the back, and we're going to get rid of a few things and change a few things and add a few things. And first of all, if you back up a little bit, remember we had this stop here. It was in place to go ahead and activate the overload spring. Since we're not using springs anymore, this gets pitched to the side. And what we're doing, though, is we're still going to use the same mounting locations for our new bracket. Now, this new bracket, what it's going to do is relocate our shock and mount our track bar. Now, the shock was mounted right here, as you can see on the inside of the frame. We're going to relocate that to the outside. Now, the track bar will come into place, and what it's going to do is keep the rear end housing from moving back and forth. You need one when you have a 4-link system, since this truck didn't have one when it came in because, well, it didn't have a 4-link system. We need to put a mount in on the other side for the differential. So this mounting bracket here goes around the diff, and this is the track bar, which goes in place like that. So that'll mount in place like this and keep this whole thing from moving back and forth. Now, you look at some of this stuff and think, wow, these guys have really gone overkill on a lot of these bracketry and how big these bars are and all this stuff, but for good reason, because what we're doing is we're getting an increased load and capacity all the way around the vehicle. We'll have as much as 5,000 pound capacity on the front axle, and as much as 10,000 on the back, which is huge. The only thing is, you got to keep in mind that you need to check your owner's manual to make sure that your vehicle can handle those increased loads before you start getting crazy and throwing a bunch of weight on. Next thing we need to do is go ahead and drill out holes here for the rest of this mounting bracket and make sure that it's securely mounted to handle that increased load.
Now we're just about ready to get these airbags into place, and these are going to fit right in there between these two brackets right here. And you know what? There's a lot of good reasons for these airbags. First and foremost, we talked about comfort of the ride earlier. I mean, think about it. When you're rolling down the road before, you had steel springs, heavy springs banging on each other, and that was your suspension. Now you've got the smooth air ride going on right there. Also, sound deadening is a big thing too. If you think about it, on those springs, all that vibration and everything is resonating up through the cab of the truck, and it's all going to get soaked up right here. So you're going to get a lot less road noise in the cab of the truck.
Now, another thing I want to point out too is that right now this is going to sit on top of this lift right now. It's going to give you that 2-inch lift we're adding to this truck. Now, if you wanted to go in stock configuration, you would just have a flat metal plate like this on the top and the bottom. Now, there's a reason for this flat metal plate. It isn't just for looks. It actually helps save the bag from itself. See, when the bag compresses, what happens is it overlaps to the top here. What will happen is it'll actually eat into any kind of sharp object and damage that bag itself. So this is protecting the bag from itself on both the top and the bottom.
And then we can control it with this.
Now, this controller is really something that's optional, but it's something that we think is well worth it. Now, if you wanted to, you can go with kind of a basic setup where you just tie in all 4 of the airbags and have like a little valve off the back, like a Schrader valve, and you can manually adjust it higher or lower to a different setting. But this makes it all the more fun because you can individually change each one of these 4 valves inside of the cab.
And you talk about it being fun. I mean, there is something inherently cool about making the truck lean or drop in the front or do all that. That's fun. But like we said, it also helps with the towing, and that's really what the name of the game is. And the cool thing about the controller is you can control all 4 bags individually. So let's say you load up a little heavy on the one side, you can push that one bag up and get it all nice and level when you're going down the road.
Now, this plug-and-play compressor comes with a 3/4 horsepower engine, so it'll have more than enough. It's a continuous duty 3¼ horsepower engine, so it'll have more than enough power to do what you need to do. Plus, we're going to add with it this 5-gallon stainless steel tank, so it'll have plenty of volume to tie in. Like this guy, for instance, has got an air horn to it, so we'll get rid of his little air horn tank, tee into here, and you can do it all in one. Now, there's a couple different bungs you'll see both on both ends of it. It gives you the option to tie into different accessories. All we really need, though, is one to go to and from the compressor, and that's for our application. If you want to, you can add in stuff like his train horn, other type of things, but it gives you the option there.
Yeah, you hook this to the battery, you run the lines to that, and you run your controller to this, and it's nice and easy. You know what's really cool too is you think about it when you're hooking up to the trailer, the nice thing with the bags in the back, you can actually dip down to lower than it would have been in stock configuration. So you can lower the truck, back up under the hitch, raise it back up, lift the trailer, and you're cruising down the road. It's just another one of the benefits from this heavy-duty 4-link towing system from Airbag It. I love this thing, man, and it looks cool too.
I like that you don't have to get out of the truck to hook up.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm underneath the truck to give you guys a little bit better look at what we're trying to do here in locating this track bar. Now, we've taken off the differential cover. Now we need to go ahead and install this mounting bracket like this. It'll be sandwiched with the diff cover over it, and our track bar will mount to it right here. Now remember, the track bar is in place to keep the rear end from moving side to side with our new 4-link system. So before you go ahead and bolt on the new bracketry, you need to clean up the old surface area to make sure you get a nice good seal. In doing so, we hit it with a little brake parts cleaner and then hit a little silicone all the way around. Now, it's important to make sure that it seals well because you don't not only want this stuff leaking all over the ground, all the diff oil makes a mess, but it doesn't hold a lot of volume in here. Before you know it, this thing will go bone dry and it'll start eating up that gear. So last thing I need to do is hit this about one more time to get off the old silicone, then we can reseal it and put the new one in place.
So what's in your bed? Or more importantly, is it leaking all over the place like our new tractor did? We just got a deal on this, picked it up about an hour or so away, brought it back to the ranch, and we noticed there's a little fuel line leak right there, probably some old lines. It's no big deal. Why am I not worried about it? Because previously we've installed this. It's the Bed Armor truck bed liner from Duplicolor, and it's chemical resistant, which is one of the best benefits about it. You know, with some of the do-it-yourself systems that you put in like that, if you get some chemicals or some gasoline sitting there for too long, it can actually start eating into it, and you get delamination. And by delamination, I mean that it gets in there and it's going to start peeling up on you because it's actually destroying it. Well, once again, chemical resistant, it's made with Kevlar, so it's tough, so that's one less thing that we've got to worry about. Now, when we rolled in, we actually noticed it right there, so we could just rinse it out nice and easy. But, you know, maybe you get home at night, or maybe you don't unload the thing right away, and you don't know that it's even on there. Well, whether you know about it or whether you don't, with the Duplicolor Bed Armor system, it's one less thing you've got to worry about. So if you want some more information about the Bed Armor, or you want to see some demonstration videos or find out where you can buy it, check out Duplicolor's website. Welcome back to TruckU. You know, whether you're working in the garage or anywhere around the house, one of the best things you can have on your side is a good cleaner, and that's what it's all about today with this Purple Power concentrated industrial strength cleaner and degreaser from Aiken Chemical Company.
Now, it is really concentrated. It's great because right on contact, it'll lift up dirt, grease, oil. It'll penetrate right into the worst areas like underneath your truck and the unibody or in the engine compartment. You'll want to pour this stuff on in full strength, and it'll get the job done for you. Best part about it, it creates a barrier between the stain and the surface, so you know you're going to get your area clean.
And it is a certified biodegradable product, so that's always good as well. It's the Purple Power concentrated industrial strength cleaner and degreaser from Aiken Chemical Company. You know, the biggest issue with hydraulic jacks and bottle jacks is leaks. If you've ever done any kind of work with a jack, you've probably had it leak on you, and that's what this is all about. It's the Bars Leaks jack oil with stop leak.
Now, a lot of people are familiar with the Bars Leak name. It's been around for a long time, from the radiator stop leaks or head gasket fixes. This product is just as easy to use because you simply just pour it in. It'll mix with any hydraulic fluid, work on those used old bottle jacks, the ones that haven't been lifting up anymore. It'll recondition the seals to bring them life again. It's also great in new ones as well because it'll keep it from leaking in the future. Now, if you live up in the cold, this is a great product for you as well because it'll work on those snowplows too.
It makes your life nice and easy as far as the jacks are concerned. It's the Bars Leaks jack oil with stop leak. This is the original Tough Truck bag, and what it is, it's an alternative to the hard tonneau cover that you would put on the back of your truck because, let's face it, you can spend a lot of money on that, you don't have the use of the bed, and when you're not using it, you've got to store it somewhere.
Yeah, this is much more versatile. Two things I'm going to tell you right off the top. It is huge and it is 100% waterproof. It's got a largemouth zipper opening in the back that is sealed by a Velcro strip that's industrial grade. So you know whatever you put inside of this thing, it's going to stay dry. Whether it's your fishing gear, your camping gear, you know, suitcases and whatever. Right. What do you put in the road? It'll be away from the elements. Now, what's great about it, you say it's huge. It's 40 wide by 50 long and about 2 feet deep, so you can store just about anything inside of it.
And another thing I like about it are the big pockets that go down the side. And what they are is they're waterproof as well for little things, you know, gloves or small tools that you want to be able to get to quickly. You can stick those in those waterproof pockets on the side.
Yeah, it's versatile too in the fact that it'll work for any size truck bed and it'll work with your truck boxes as well, so you're not confined to one or the other.
Now, it's tough as nails. Now, take a look at this. Let's roll up, and you can kind of see this webbing on the inside right there. That's where the strength comes from. So that webbing right there is going to keep it together. So you don't have to worry about sticking something in the bag and having it pop through it. It is strong and it's going to protect your stuff from the elements. It's the original Tough Truck bag. If your dashboard is cracked and all dried out and damaged, maybe you want to replace it, but you don't know where to get one, right? Well, that's where the guys at LMC Truck come in.
Now, LMC Truck has got a full line of dash pads for trucks from your Chevys to your GMCs to your Fords or your Dodgers. Now, this dash pad happens to be from an 81 to 87 GMC or Chevy truck, like your Jimmys or your Suburbans. Now, with LMC Truck, they've got pretty much everything you need, whether it's dash pads or lights or anything. They've got these catalogs, which are great. They've got detailed pictures with descriptions, so you can find the right part and you can get it pretty quickly.
Absolutely. They make it nice and easy. You find the part number, you call the 1-800 number, or you order it online and they ship it right to your door. They've got over 30,000 parts for trucks going back to the 40s. It's like we always say, it doesn't get any easier than it is with LMC Truck.
Well, we got to take a break. When we come back, we need to get back to work on that airbag system for that truck.
For more information on anything you've seen on today's show, check out speedtv.com or visit our website at truckutv.com.
Welcome back to TruckU. So today we've been installing our heavy-duty 4-link towing package from Airbag it, and we're just about ready to put these babies in. That's kind of where the magic happens. But you know what? Earlier we were talking about controlling the whole system, and this is what's going to do it. These are the buttons you get to push. This is the fun part. So you take a look at the controller right here. You can see all bags up, all down, or front up, front down, rear down. Here's the individual controls for each of the 4 bags. It lets you fine tune it. And also up top, we've got some presets, and the presets can really make your life a lot easier.
Yeah, this controller makes this whole system pretty fun, you know what I mean? It's really handy too, because like these presets, let's say you've got a couple different trailers you're pulling with this truck. One's maybe a little bit lighter, it's a snowmobile trailer, one's a heavy work trailer. It needs different settings for the airbags themselves. So boom, you hit number 1 and that's your snowmobile. 2 is your work setting or whatever it is. It just makes life a little bit more convenient, takes some of the guesswork out of things.
Yeah, now you're getting this ready. This is about ready to slide in, but we had to do a couple of different things before we roll it up in there.
Yeah, first things first, you need to go ahead and mount the mounting bracket on the bottom first, and that's where our lift comes into play. The next thing you need to do really is just put on these compression fittings and plumb your line. Now, you want to make sure that you use some pipe dope or thread sealant on it so it doesn't leak. The other thing is you get plenty of line that comes with this stuff.
Right.
Make sure you cut these a little bit longer than shorter, because you don't want to put the bag in place and go, oh no, at the last minute you realize you're too short and you got to take it all out or put in another connector. The more connections you have, the more chance you have for an airbag leak, and leaks are not good with an airbag system.
All right, well, let's get this in place there. Here,
you got this?
That? I'll get this. You thread it through.
All right,
you can
sounds
be
good.
in charge of the air piping there.
All right, hold on a second here. Start feeding it through for you.
So keep in mind, when you're doing this, one very important thing to remember is don't go wrapping that line around the exhaust or anything, and try to keep it away from as many moving parts as you can as well. So,
There we go.
I need to be a little taller sometimes.
We'll get you some lifts.
You know? Cool. All right. So what we'll do is then we can raise this up right here, and as you can see, that's getting closer. We'll just guide that through the holes. So that's going to fit right up into that hole, and you can kind of see how this is all going to come together. Now, next week, we're going to show you the intricacies of all the piping and the plumbing and all the wiring. That's going to be pretty cool, but even better, we're going to take it outside and actually put it to the test. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it'd be nice to actually have some fun with this thing after all this work.
Absolutely. Now, if you have any questions about the Airbag it system or anything else we did on the show today, go ahead and check out our website. In the meantime, we'll see you guys next week when we're playing with this bad boy. Looking forward to that.
I love this controller. This is cool.